If you're born in an English-speaking country, or if you've learned English as a second language, most of us have done so, or else you probably wouldn't be even listening to this video. Look, you've heard the phrase, what makes them tick? It refers to psychology, or when someone is behaving in such a way that is inconsistent, or someone behaves in a way that we can't understand, and we ask what makes them tick, what's going on with them. And when people use this phrase, they often mean what's behind someone's behavior. People look for psychological processes, and people should, because psychological processes do affect human behavior and how society, what is going on in a community. But beware that you're not distracted by the psychological causes of something, that you don't look at the bigger picture of what's behind those psychological processes. Let me give an example. You have a woman, I'm going to use a female example now. You have a woman who is in her 30s, she's single, and she never managed to remain close to a man. Never. She came out of a household with 2 loving parents, so that's not the case. But when people look at her, they see that she is quite moody and she's quite creepy in her attitude. So a lot of people begin to think, what's making her tick? And of course, the word psychological, she had psychological issues. Don't get me wrong. What happened? She felt rejected by her grandparents because her parents and her grandparents were not on good terms. And for somehow, when she was a kid, it was brought over onto her as if she was the cause of it. And the truth being told, her paternal grandparents didn't want their son to marry that woman, that is her mother. So that, because the woman was pregnant before they got married, and they decided to marry because they were having a family. So that was what's going on. But she didn't knew all of that. She still doesn't, but she still felt as if people were blaming her. And this caused a strain in her mental development. She did develop well as a young woman, but she still had this sense of rejection. So that's a psychological issue that's haunting her. But that's not the cause why she's still single and why she's so creepy in all of it. Here's what's going on. A demon, an unclean spirit, has attached itself to her since her early teens. The emotional wounds she had by feeling rejected by her grandparents, by the conflicts between her grandparents and her parents, that wound remained open, and it began to grow into her personality, and a demon had because that a demon had the ability to work through her, to access her. And after a while, the demon began to live inside of her energy field. And since she's 12, that demon has been attached to her. Everywhere she went, all the people she spoke to, every job she take, that demon was there. And that woman was not aware that the demon was operating through her. Sometimes she would say things and she would think, why did I say that? Or sometimes she would feel bad towards certain people. She wouldn't like certain people, but what's going on? The demon was causing those emotions. The demon was causing all those feelings in her brain. So when she felt all those things, she thought it was her. She was totally ignorant of the spirit world. She had no interest in those things also. So she was trapped by that evil spirit. And the demon knew that a lot of people would look at the psychological processes. And they wouldn't look in the spirit. The demon knew that most of the people around didn't look at the big picture. So the demon could hide behind her psychological issues. Because that's what most people would address, her psychological issues. And there's nothing wrong with addressing psychological issues. We should. But we should never be distracted by psychological issues. Because not always, I'm not saying this is always the case, but often, I say often because it happens a lot, I'm not saying most of the time, I'm saying just often, the real issue, the real root is paranormal. In this case, in this example, it's a demon that's using the psychological mess in order to operate. But nobody is addressing the paranormal that's going on. That the history of that woman is a paranormal operation in itself, but people can't see it. So they can't address it. So understand what I'm saying here. Before we ask what makes them tick, ask who is making them tick. It's the who we often don't ask. There are people out there, because they have bad thinking patterns, because they have demonic strongholds in their mind, you have unclean spirits that live through them. And those people may not always be people that are doing bad stuff, but nevertheless, demons are using them for their agenda. So, always ask who is making them tick. Who, not what, who is making them tick. That being said, be at peace.